Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Like I said last week, I'm coming back this week with a new video, and here I am. So I wanted to do something different, something more entertaining. I've been having like a YouTube vlog, not knowing what to do next. I know they're getting kind of dry as I go because I'm like low-key forcing it, but this video right here, I know people are going to be interested, and I know people want the story. So the title of the video, you already know. I'm going to be telling you the story of how I recently got arrested. So let's just get right into it. So where do I even start? If you guys have been keeping up with my videos for some time now, this whole year, I've like mentioned it here and there, like I got arrested, I'm going to court, I moved out of my old apartment, like I've thrown it in here and there, but I've never explained why. And I have got questions like on my Instagram, like people are curious, you know. Sorry guys, this is itching right here and I don't want to scratch, so I'm going to use the powder puff. Okay. So basically this all happened when I was coming back from Monterey. I was visiting my dad. I flew back March 29th, and literally everything, my life did a completely 360. Like, it's one of those things you don't expect and you never see coming. But so how do I even begin? So like I said, flew back to Puerto Rico. I was coming back home, you know, normal. I didn't think anything of it. Right when I walk out of the airport, and I mean the minute I walk out of the airport, like 6-7 guys, they come at me, and they're all speaking Spanish. You know, we're in Puerto Rico and I'm not fluent in Spanish. And then at first, my first instinct was like, holy shit, like they're trying to kidnap me, or they're trying to rob me or something. And I remember like I went like this to like resist, you know, because they were trying to like grab my arms. And then he said, like, you're under arrest, we have a warrant for your arrest. So takes my hands behind my back and puts me in the handcuffs. And mind you, I was just on the phone. No, we were on the phone. I was texting you know, my boyfriend, and I said, because like he was trying to arrange where to pick me up. He was picking me up that day, you guys. Like, we have been talking for some time now, and I had planned he was gonna pick me up from the airport. We're gonna go to his house, you know, spend time together. And then good thing we were texting, because we were texting, and I was trying to explain to him, like, I'm at the side door in the back, blah blah blah. And then he's like, okay, I'm almost there. Like, he was literally right almost there in that area. And then good thing I was able to write him, they got me, the cops, I think that's what I said. And then I'm walking, hands behind my back, right? And then I see him, like, he sees me, and like they're all walking me. And I remember in that moment, you guys, like my heart sank to my stomach. I felt so embarrassed. I felt like, this is it, this guy's never gonna want to talk to me again. Like, who wants that baggage? Who wants to, like, they're planning to pick up their girl from the airport, and then like she's over here, hands behind her back in handcuffs, like getting arrested. You know, it's one of those things you do not see coming. He was just as confused as I was confused. I had no idea, right? So they take me up to the front of the airport. He's still walking, and he's like, because he doesn't really they're not dressed like cops. That's another reason why I got super freaking scared. We walked towards the front of the airport, and then, oh my god, it was like crazy. I see him talking to one of the officers, and I'm like scared. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And then finally one of the officers says, because I kept asking, like, why are you doing this, why are you doing this? Like, I didn't know why I was getting arrested, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things you're like, what the fuck? I just got off the airplane, walked at the airport, and all this happens. And he's like, we have a warrant for your arrest for selling to an undercover cop. And I was like, what? Crazy, right? So they well, I'm still standing in front, hands behind my back, and they're all talking, thinking about what they're gonna do next. And then this one of the officers comes up to me, and he was like, do you have illegal things in your suitcases? Tell me right now. Like, I'm gonna open them anyways. Tell me the truth. Like, he scolds me, right? And he tries to do that fear card, right? And out of fear, I'm like, what? No, like, what do you mean? He's like, do you have any drugs or da-da-da? I'm like, I have like a little bit of weed. I'm from California. In California, weed is legal. We could be 18 and go to freaking any dispensary you want and buy weed like it's normal, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know that here in Puerto Rico that it has to be medicinal, that it's not recreational, like it's illegal. Like I'm over here from like hippie from California and not thinking anything of it, right? And then so like he keeps trying to scare me, right? And I'm like, yeah, I only have like a little bit of weed. Like he's like, how much is a little bit? I'm like, I probably have like 3 little like bags, you know? And then they're talking whatever, they're all speaking in Spanish. The whole time I don't know what the hell's going on. I see, you know, I'm in the distance talking to one of the other officers. They put me in the back of the car. We're still just waiting there. And then the guy explains to me we're gonna bring out the dog, you know, the airport dogs, and he's gonna sniff your bags, and they're gonna search, you know, like if the dog goes down, then we're gonna take your bags in because we have to search them. I was like, oh, okay. And at that moment I was like, fuck. Like obviously I know what I brought. I brought some stuff. I'm from California. I didn't think anything of it. I smoke weed to go to sleep. Well, I used to. I honestly don't smoke weed anymore. On probation, you know. And even before that I was already like toning it down a lot, so it's whatever. But you know, like I bring it back from California because I like to have just like my little pile of like things that I use to go to sleep for anxiety. Like I don't do it just to get high, basically, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not using it for the wrong reasons. I'm not over here slanging in Puerto Rico, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, that happens. Then the dogs finally come, and I have 2 suitcases. No, I had 3 suitcases and a backpack. They lay them all down, and the only bag that didn't have weed was my backpack. Dog nailed down for first bag, second bag, third bag. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I'm in the back. I'm over here like what the fuck? But at the same time I'm like keeping my cool. I'm like, you know what, I've been through so much shit. Like I'm not gonna like get all freaked out in my head and be scared, like it is what it is. Like just go with the flow, you know? Like that's just my character. Edom comes to me in the back, like I'm like this in the back seat of the cop car, and he's like, everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna go get you tomorrow morning. Like he's like, what they're gonna do, they're gonna check you in, you're gonna stay there overnight, and then I'm gonna see you first thing in the morning. And then like he's like, it's gonna be okay. And then like he's just so sweet. Like he like but at that point when he was telling me those things, that's when I got emotional and I started to tear up and I was crying because I just felt embarrassed and I felt sad that he had to see me like that. Like we had planned like such a special night that night, and like when something like that happens, you're like, yo, what the fuck? So recap, I got arrested for the warrant of selling to undercover cop, right, prior to me flying back to Puerto Rico. And then while I'm at the airport, one of the men asked me, do you have illegal stuff in your bag? And out of me being scared, I'm like, first I said no, but then he kept asking me and I was like, oh, I have like a little bit of weed. And then they got me in trouble with that too, right? So hold up, long story, guys. So they drive me to the police station, you know, they asked me questions about like, you know, just my name, address, blah blah blah, what do you do? And it was funny because one of the cops, they're like, you do OnlyFans for a living, right? Like when we were driving to the police station, I was like, yeah. But anyways, they checked me in. I'm in the holding cell that whole night. You guys, it was literally the fucking worst experience of my life. Like I just felt like it was like a rock bottom. I felt so alone. I was freaking freezing my ass off. Like I just came in I was literally in my chanclas and my little leggings, tiny tank top, little crop top sweater. I'm gonna insert a video because I posted when I was at the airport not thinking anything of it, right? And like I was just like, yo, what the fuck? It was so cold in there. When I say it was cold, it was the coldest thing I've ever experienced in my life, and it's just straight cement. Like I had my own holding cell, and I was like curled up in a ball in the freaking, like when I say cold, I can't exaggerate to you like how cold it was. Like I was literally shivering. I was laying on the cement bench and I was just like in a circle, like trying to get comfortable and like fall asleep. But it was like literally so hard that night. Like I didn't sleep like one bit, like at all. Not to the next morning when I was still waiting. I ended up falling asleep and taking a little nap. But that whole night, like there's just so much things pacing through my mind. I'm like, dude, what am I gonna do? Like I don't even know like the process of how this works. Like I'm gonna go to jail, this is crazy. Like I was just like, your mind goes everywhere when you're thinking about that. I started thinking about like my parents and my family. I'm like, I'm just like my mom, she went to jail before. I remember I have a picture of her mugshot in my room. Like it was just a bunch of wild shit going through my head. Not to top it off, like I felt so sad that Edom had to see me like that, because it's one of those things you're just like, oh my god, like you can never prepare yourself for something like that, you know what I'm saying? So I wake up the next day And the reason why it felt like forever me in that holding cell is because there's no sunlight. Like, you're in a building, you know what I'm saying? So you can't tell like what time it is. I just know that Idam said he's gonna see me at 10 in the morning. He's gonna see me in the morning, 10 in the morning. So I'm like, I can't even tell when the sun's rising. I knew people started trickling in because maybe they were starting their shift. Viole! She loves to do this. Yeah, mommy. Come here. Come here. Vente. Vente. She just wanted to be in the video, you guys. But anyways, I couldn't tell like what time it was, so the hours felt so long. Like, I felt like I was in there for eternity. I didn't get out into that holding cell until 3. The officers that arrested me that prior night, they took me to this other place where basically it was like a room full of so many people. There was a lady with a camera that was taking pictures of everything that she was gonna find in my bag. There was like, I don't know, it had to be like over 7 different people, officers, people that work there, I don't know, and me all in this room, right? And they have my suitcases there, and they explained to me the process. They're like, okay, we're gonna lay your suitcase on the table, and we're gonna take everything out, and we're gonna check it in front of you because I have to be there present while they search everything and they confiscate whatever's illegal in there, right? So they open the first bag, they find a bag of weed, they find another bag of weed, and another little bag of weed. Like, I had a lot of 8s, you know, like pre-rolls. Every bag had them, and every single time they were pulling them out, like, the ladies on the side were getting so excited, like, oh, look at there's another one, wow, take pictures. And like, it was like almost they were getting excited, like, the more that they found, like, just the females, of course, like, of course. But anyways, they kept checking them, and the whole process, mind you, was so like overwhelming because like Puerto Rico was like a third world country in itself. Everyone's speaking Spanish. I'm not fluent in Spanish. I understand a little bit, but I don't understand everything completely. So I was kind of like, what the fuck? Like, I just felt like so alone and lost and freaking scared, you know what I'm saying? So they're checking everything, but at the same time I'm playing my cool. And I remember like I was still cracking jokes with the people because one of the officers, while they were checking my stuff, because it was like a lengthy process, they were taking everything out of my thing, and messy too. They weren't even nice about it. They're like destroying all my shit. One of the because they're officers, but they're not dressed like officers, they're just in casual clothes. He shows me a picture of my roommate. He was like, this is your roommate, right? And then I was like, yeah. And it was her leaving the apartment, so they had been watching us. Another picture, boom. Me when I just got back from the gym. So they've been watching us for months, you guys. And he shows me another picture, and it's a screenshot of one of my YouTube videos. And then I was like, creepy. And then I made him laugh at that point. And then I said again, I was like, when he showed me the video for YouTube, I was like, oh, do you watch my videos? They're really good. And basically, like, I still was lighthearted, and I didn't want to let the situation like take control of me and give, like, let it take my power, basically. So I still try to be like chill, as relaxed as possible, even though, you know, at the same time I'm like scared and nervous. But when you're in those situations, you kind of just have to surrender to the experience and like go with the flow, and like, you know, like be strong, have thick skin, still chest back, head up, you know, type of thing. They kept checking my stuff, and they ended up finding a good amount. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like I said, all 3 bags they had marijuana. And I kept explaining to the guy, like, I was like, yeah, I use it for anxiety, I use that to go to sleep, like. And then they're like, well, here in Puerto Rico it's not legal, you have to have your medical card. I'm like, well, sorry, I didn't know, like, you know what I'm saying? But take in mind, this whole search of my bags has nothing to do with why they actually arrested me in the first place. The reason why they actually arrested me in the first place is because I have a warrant for my arrest for selling to an undercover cop at my old apartment in Puerto Rico. So that happens, they check everything, boo boo boo, I had to sign a paper. And then where did they take me after that? Because I remember that day they were taking me a few places. Then we went to another place in Bayamon, and they were where they go to this lab, and in front of me they have to test the weed and like if it's like high THC or if there's no THC in it. And it was such a lengthy, long process because I already know what's in my bags. I already know what you're gonna find, where you're gonna find it. I already know that my stuff that you're testing has THC, you know what I'm saying? So it was like I already knew, and it was like a suspense thing that I already knew the answer to, but it was like a build up and just a really lengthy process. Then finally they took me back to the courthouse. I was waiting outside with one of the officers, and the rest of them were kind of dickheads, and they're rude, and they treat you like you're a freaking animal, like point you to go there, sit there, like come on, like you literally have no rights when you're going in this situation. This whole time, that second day when they were taking me all these places, I'm like this, hands behind my back, everywhere I go, in cuffs. Like, it was the worst experience ever, you guys. Like, you just feel so dehumanized, honestly. So they take me to that third place, boom, check all the stuff. Okay, oh, like I said, they took me back to the courthouse. I'm standing outside the cop car with one of the officers, and he was the only one that was like an actually decent human being, and he was nice. He was like, are you okay? Like, let me know if you need anything. Do you need water? Da, da, da. Do you need this? Oh wait, pause right here. Okay, at the courthouse, I want to go back to when I was in the holding cell. When I woke up that next morning, you guys, I have the sweetest, most amazing human being in the whole wide world to call my partner, my man, my boyfriend, my best friend, Idam. Like, he literally brought me 2 breakfast sandwiches and water that next day. He woke up, he didn't even barely sleep that night. He took it really hard. He was the first person there at the holding cell at freaking 7 in the morning, I think even sooner, like trying to do whatever he could to like get me out. And I heard it from one of the ladies. They're like, oh, he's been here since morning. So okay, fast forward to whatchamacallit, to the courthouse, right? But we're still outside. I'm outside the cop car, and I'm talking to the guy. He's like, are you okay? Do you need anything? Da, da, da. He's like, do you want to make a phone call? I was like, yes. Can I call Ida, my boyfriend? And they already had his number saved because like he gave it to the people at the front where I was at the holding cell. So I first he calls him and he was like, hey, is this Ida? I'm like, da da da, she's here if you want to see her. And then he's like, oh, I'm already here. And he's like, and then the guy relayed the message like, oh, he's already here, like right in front. And then we look directly straight across, and there's Idam. He's sitting in the front of the courthouse, and he's like literally already waiting for me. And like my heart just melted because I haven't seen him in so long. I was in Monterey, and like we had all these plans to spend time with each other and have a good time. I see him there, you guys, and he just looks so cute. I'm like, oh, I'm so in love. Like, he was actually there for me. He never left my side. He was honestly, I had a friend that I was living with in Puerto Rico that I knew since I was 11, and she put like little to fucking no effort when it came to checking on my well-being, seeing if I was okay, seeing if I needed anything when it related to that whole situation. But there's this guy that I met in Puerto Rico, the beginning of 2021. My memory is about to cut out, but anyways, like, I am so thankful for this guy. The officer let me, my bad guys, I ran out of storage. I had to delete space on my camera. But anyways, this guy, he is a freaking angel sent from the heavens above. But anyways, I got to sit with him in front of the courthouse. There's a bunch of like outdoor seating and chairs right there. So the officer, he was so nice. He put, because still I'm handcuffed like this, he moved my handcuffs to the front, you know, so that I could just be more comfortable where I'm sitting next to Idam. And he's like, we're just talking about the whole thing, like, wow, this is crazy, da, da, da. He's like, don't worry, I got you a lawyer. And I was like, what? Like, you guys, when I say I was never expecting the help that I received from Idam, like let me tell you, I was never expecting it. He was like, I'm gonna get you out of here tonight, like I promise, like you're coming home with me tonight. He just kept reassuring me, like, you know, like you're coming home tonight, don't worry, like it's gonna be okay. I'm like, I'm gonna pay your bail. Like, you guys, he paid my freaking bail, $1,000. And then, so basically that night we had a hearing for the first one of the cases, which was oops, it lowered a little bit, which was having the stuff in my the marijuana in my suitcases. So he already had contacted the lawyer, got a lawyer like within that like 24, not even 24 hour like period of time. And I was just like literally like mind blown, like that he already got a lawyer that fast. Outside of the thing, they had to ask me, this lady, Viole, this dog drives me crazy. But basically this lady in the front had to ask me several questions about like my name, address, da, da, my parents' name, what they do for a living, blah blah blah, all this stuff, right? There's a questionnaire just to make sure I'm not like high risk of leaving if he pays my bail, like that I will report back to court, you know, for my hearing. And that ended up working. He paid my bail. But that same night we had the first hearing for the case of having all this shit in my bag, right? And so we go into the courtroom, and my lawyer did phenomenal. This is the lawyer, you guys, that my boyfriend Idam got for me. He beat that case so fast. There are so many things that they fucked up on. One, like they didn't read me my Miranda rights when they first arrested me. There wasn't an official translator that could speak English and relay to me the messages of the Miranda rights, you know what I'm saying? And one of the officers that arrested me was not supposed to be in the room when they were searching my shit. I guess, I don't know why, legalities, right? There's that. And another thing, it was like the reason they checked my bags has nothing, like my suitcases have nothing to do with the actual reason they arrested me in the first place, which was selling to an undercover cop. So he was able to get that case dropped, boom, right there and then. And then I was like, oh my god, thank the Lord, thank Idam, thank this lawyer. Like, he was aggressive, he was like boom 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 at it. And let me just take a side note to tell you, I remember when I first got into the car and I was saying bye to Idam, the cop car, and I told him to text, you know, my roommate and let her know what happens, but do not relay this message to my father. Like, I don't want to stress him out, I don't want him to know, you know what I'm saying? I wanted it to keep it private. And he told that person, and when he had let her know that I had got out, she didn't rate me the whole night, didn't call me, nothing. Not until the next day later on, she had wrote me on Instagram, which I thought was like really weird because that person never texted me on Instagram. And there's a lot of fishy parts that play into this whole story, and it's kind of all over the place and hard to put into order. But and another situation was when we were filling out the paperwork with the bondsman, the guy that's gonna, you know, like Idam has to give him the information and give him the money to post my bail, which is $1,000. And what was it? He needed like the name, he needed, what did he need from her? It was like the full name, address, email, basically like the full like information, right? And I remember Idam asked, because they needed it from my roommate, they needed her information, like her email, her phone number, blah blah blah, like, right? And he wrote her asking for it, and she didn't want to give it to it because like it was kind of like she wanted to protect and make sure she was good and not involved, and she couldn't give simple information to help Idam with the process of posting my bail. She wasn't aggressively like checking up on me and like, Idam, let me go with you, let me make sure everything's okay. Like, if I was in that situation and I had a supposedly best friend, I would expect you to go 110% hard for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's your loyalty where's your heart out? Where's your heart, your pride, like everything of that, you know what I'm saying? Someone that you knew for 11 years, you would think they would go harder for you and be there, write you when they know that you got out, not even a call. And then it's weird, then the next day you text me on Instagram. I remember I didn't go home for a few days and I ended up moving out because I was just done. There's so much shit that goes on with that story. How can I talk about it where it goes basically in order? So the whole reason I first got arrested, you guys, is because of the sale to undercover cop, which took place in our old apartment. And the reason that came about is my old roommate has a friend. Her friend, not my friend, it's her friend, brought a stranger into our house to buy marijuana from me, right? So basically that friend brings that person into the apartment. I give him some marijuana, and later on in court, when I was doing this whole court process, I got to watch the video from the prosecutor, with the prosecutor and my lawyer. And in the video, my old roommate and I are behind the counter doing the exact same thing. We're both moving around the weed, you know, saying this is this much, isn't this a good one, da 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 da. Her face is in it, my face is in it. It takes place at our house. And it's just really funny that that person had no consequences, didn't get in trouble. But I firmly believe that that old roommate that I had a big part to do with it. I had a warrant for my arrest and taken mine the morning of me coming back to Monterey, right? So like, I'm in Monterey, I'm about to fly back to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico time, my roommate texted me at 6 in the morning, her time, right? And says, what time do you arrive? And I replied back, you know, not thinking anything of it. But after everything happened, you kind of piece everything together and you're like, wow. So basically this person was working with them, with the cops, letting them know I wasn't in Puerto Rico, letting them know I was in the States, letting them know when I came back. My belief is, the only part that makes sense, my lawyer even talked to me about this, is that they came to the house already looking for me to arrest me because the sale took place in my house, our house that we shared together. And because I wasn't there, they intimidated her into giving information and complying with them. If not, that would have been her ass. So what does she do? She throws me under the bus. This is where she's at. This is when she's coming back. And then when all said and done, she barely even offered help. You know what happened right when I came back to our apartment to talk to her about everything that happened? She goes on to tell me about how she's getting this nice higher paying job. And I'm just like, okay, any of the day, that's cool, that's awesome. Like, I'm your friend, I root for you, I want to see you win. But it's just a little like, insensitive. Some people are just so oblivious. Like, you come home after having the worst experience of your life, you're sleeping in a freaking holding cell, cold, freaking lost, scared, all this other shit, and you don't have the decency to like really go with Idam to go help get me out. Where was your money and your contribution? Not that I'm like, I feel like entitled to your, like, for you to help me out, but I would have done the same, you know what I'm saying? Like, even help me out and know that I would pay you back type of thing. But there was no help or support on that person's end, and that's why simply I had to cut that shit off. And there's other reasons why, honestly, because the whole situation was fishy. Her friend, so my old roommate has a friend, right? And she ended up communicating to him saying, Karina got arrested, this is what happened with the guy that you brought. And then they're going back and forth, and she's reading to me some of the messages, and then all of a sudden you see, it's like someone reading you the messages like this, right? You could see their phone, and then she pulls back like this and scrolls past them. I could obviously see her scroll like this and then continue reading. And I take a mental note, but I don't read, I don't voice it, right? Like, I'm just observing this person's character, because I already know something's up. I already know her play in this whole situation, you know what I'm saying? So then time goes by, I go back with my boyfriend. Since I got back to Puerto Rico, didn't stay the night there. I was just already like sick to my stomach type shit. I write my roommate and I say, hey, my lawyer tells me that your messages with help me, so can you send me screenshots of everything you guys talking about related to the case? Do you know what this broad said? She said, sorry, I don't have the messages anymore, I deleted them. And I'm like, oh, that's funny, you deleted them? And then she's like, yeah, I didn't want my boyfriend to see the messages with that person, you know, because her and that person had weird sexual, you know, like relationship, whatever. At this part, it was the biggest betrayal, biggest heartbreak to know that your person that you've known for 11 years could betray you like that and just leave you in the dust like that, like that easy, you know what I'm saying? It was just like a big shocker. But then at the same time, like, I don't want to spend so much time on that. I just want to like really appreciate and say thank you to my boyfriend Idam for like honestly being there. So what ended up happening with the undercover cop situation, that they tried to charge, well, I did get charged with the felony, what was it, intent to sell and distribute, because there's a huge like raid that happened in Condado, in the place that I live. So they kind of tried to categorize me with those people, which is like so far from the truth. I'm like, look at me, I'm not over here like freaking being the next El Chapo, you know what I'm saying? So with that case, I ended up getting 18 months probation. I just finally finished going to court. This month, the beginning of this month, they sentenced me to 18 months probation. I have a 9 o'clock curfew, no drugs, no alcohol. I will be getting drug tested. Yeah, so it's pretty like, ugh, it sucks, but at the same time it could be worse. Like, I could be in jail. If it wasn't for my boyfriend and having a lawyer, I would definitely still be in jail right now, which is so freaking crazy. And there's just so much, you guys, like this, there's so much. And take in mind, all of this happened, and I remember my roommate ended up, she left to supposedly to another state to go visit her mother for, I think it was Mother's Day, and last minute she happens to be in California for her graduation for college, right, her walking ceremony, and didn't even tell me, didn't even bother to ask me, because obviously she knew that I was going to be in trouble and couldn't even leave Puerto Rico. And it was just kind of messed up. Little things like that I knew. So after evaluating everything, all the shit that went on, and the neglection of help, the secrecy, the deleting messages, the lacking to be there for me as like a genuine friend, I took all of those things into consideration, and I packed all of my shit out of that apartment, moved in with my boyfriend without even seeing her. I sent her a message like, all my stuff's out, I won't be coming back to the apartment, period. And you would think if that person never did me wrong, they would ask like, yo, what the hell, what is this about? Why are you randomly going to be moving out of our apartment? Like, what happened? Is there something that happened between us? Like, wouldn't you think you would want to find out if you were genuinely honest in your friend for 11 years, without a word leaves the apartment, packs all her shit without saying bye. Wouldn't you want to ask like, yo, what's up, what's going on? I didn't get none of that, you guys. Nothing, 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 nothing. And that was the biggest indication that that person actually was a part, did play a part of me getting arrested and everything like that. And it was just really heartbreaking. I learned so much this year. Life did a 360, and I'm glad, because I honestly am so much better without that person. But honestly, in my hearts of hearts, I forgave that person in my mind, body, and soul. And I was like, just because I didn't directly say it to that person, I know that in my heart I released it. I don't carry any more hate towards it. Like, yeah, it's always gonna like, ouch, you know what I'm saying? But it's better to let go, forgive. But I'll never forget, and I'll never entertain that person ever in my life. Honestly, that person is dead to me. Simple. Like, once you're blocked out of my life, you're blocked, done. I won't even do a double take to look at you. Nothing. But it's fine. It was a huge, huge, huge learning lesson, and now I'm paying the consequences. Moral of the story is, make sure you know who you got in your close circle, you know what I'm saying, and evaluate that. But right now I'm officially on probation, 18 months, and this is month 1, so it's gonna be a while. It kind of sucks like having to ask for permission to like leave, you know, because I do live on an island, so if I want to go to the States I have to ask. I've been having really difficult times like getting a hold of my probation officer now and just asking if I can go freaking see my father for Christmas. Out of the office, only one that speaks English in the office, doesn't answer the phone call, so I feel like kind of stuck here, and it kind of sucks, but I'm honestly making the best out of the situation, and it is what it is. I really hope that this story made sense. It's kind of all over the place because there was 2 different cases that they tried to get me for, which was the flying, and then they try to get me with the possession, intent to sell, and distribute. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, because I don't want to make it too long, and I feel like I'm just gonna keep going in circles. But rate me on Instagram and let me know what you think about it. Like this video, share it, comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. I really want to do a giveaway for you guys, and I think I have something in store, so stay tuned for that. I will be back next week with another video. Bye.